I have a plan. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but we're gonna try it out. It's Alirien, and in today's video we are going to be making Alyce's petticoat and her skirt, and we're doing both at once because I'm using the same pattern and the same process for both of them with only three minor tweaks to the outer skirt from the petticoat. We're going to be using McCall's pattern 7763. This one here is one of Angela Clayton's, and it's a two-piece pattern. I'm only using the skirt pattern, which is designed to be an underskirt, and then the other piece is an overdress. We're not using the overdress, we're just using the underskirt. I'm taking off the suspender-like straps that are meant to go up over the shoulder. We're just doing the skirt and the waistband. I already went ahead and pressed the full cut of the blue and the gray linens that are being used for each of them because that took forever just from the white linen from the shift, so I went ahead and pressed that already. So you're not going to get any ironing footage, sweet ironing footage, but you are going to see the rest of the process. So I've already got the pattern piece. I pretty much only needed one pattern. Well, okay, there's two pattern pieces because there's a waistband, but I'm going to be cutting a different size waistband for both of these anyway. So I really only need one pattern piece, and it's piece 18 for the skirt. So yeah, let's go ahead and lay out some fabric and we'll cut out. I'll do the petticoat first because that's the lower layer. So we'll go ahead and lay out the gray linen and get that cut. So I've got all three pieces cut of the gray linen for the petticoat, so now I'm just going to sew up the three side seams, one of which I'm going to leave the top 7 inches open for the closure in the back. Popped part of the thread. I'm afraid to. I was close too. I almost had it. We have now lost power. We lost it actually about 30 minutes ago, and we were trying to get the generator started and the generator won't go because we're probably out of oil, or there's probably some other component on it that just with age decided to go kaput, and we didn't have time to get all of that checked before the storm hit. So I cannot do any major sewing, at least not a lot of sewing right now. So my sewing machine is put away. I was able to get the gathering finished, and I got it pinned on here and was about to cut out the waistband when the power cut. This is as far as I can get on this skirt for now, because I was waiting until I had a lot more done before I did any hems, because I at least need to have these wearable by September 11th. I don't think they have to be completely finished. So that is how I'm cheating a little bit. I'm holding off on the hem until I get the bodice completely done. The skirt seam sewn up and gathered, closures done, etc. I'm gonna have to stop on this and I will get other stuff cut out, and I'm not worrying about footage of getting things cut out because there's only so much of that you need to see anyway. But I'm gonna focus on getting things cut while I have no electricity, because I don't need electricity for that. I just need light, and we have methods of light. You shall see me again when we have power again to put on the waistband and to do the closure. Until then, we will see how long this takes. Thank you for your patience, friends. Alright friends, so now that the skirt is most of the way done, I haven't hemmed it yet, but I'm waiting for everything else to be done on it before I hem it. Turn her around here. I have a plan. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but we're gonna try it out. Which side was the end? That's the end. I have a plan to turn this in, and I'm gonna cut some extra strips with some interfacing to put on the inside of this as a facing. And I might even stitch that on in tandem with the waistband so it's all one piece. But basically the plan here is to reinforce this section by about 1 to 2 inches, and then I am going to make some eyelet holes all the way down this opening, and I'm gonna make this a lace-up closure in the back. I may add a couple of hooks inside the waistband to keep it secure at the top, or a button or something to that effect, but I am planning for this gap to lace up and cinch together that way, because I think that whatever glimpses people catch of that will make it look more interesting. I'm also planning, because I've had this thought, to wear the petticoat, which is underneath this on the dress form right now, with the center closure offset, because the petticoat doesn't actually have to be worn centered. I am merely planning on having the center back, where the most bulk in this waistband is, be offset a bit from where the center back of this skirt is, to reduce the bulk in my center back, because I will also have the apron tied right there. And I think the pockets, I'm going to intentionally tie it off to the opposite side from where the petticoat closure is. Just again, to spread out that bulk to make sure that there's not this weird extra bulge right here in my center back. But yeah, that's the plan today, is to reinforce that and get the waistband on. I have this very long strip of blue linen that I know has to be at least 40 inches, because the waist for the top skirt is 36 inches all the way around, and that's for the waist of me plus the shift plus the petticoat is about 36 inches. So that's what we've done here. So I'm going to cut this down to 40 inches so that I have enough to turn in to make a nice enclosed seam, and I may even leave some overlap for the sake of the hooks, but I'm going to press this flat and cut it down to about 40 inches in length. I'm going to interface that and, you know, go through interfacing and reinforcing the opening here, and then we will add the waistband, and then this will basically be done except for the hem. Once all of that is done, I realized that I forgot to leave my pocket openings in the side seam. So I'm going to measure down the amount that I need, reopen the seam and reinforce the stitching on either end, and then stitch down the seam allowance around where the pockets will be open. I may even add like a facing on the inside just so there's no open frayable edges. The hem will be the absolute last thing. I'm leaving that for last because I want to have all 3 skirted layers done, wear each one with my boots on, and have mom go down and fold up the hem to be parallel to the ground for me. I'm hoping to just hem everything by 1 inch. I may hem the petticoat more. Whatever the minimum amount I turn up on the blue skirt is, I will double that for the petticoat and go from there, because I don't know that I want both to be sweeping on the ground. For now, we are focusing on closures, a waistband, and some pocket openings. Let's do that.
It was Charlotte. They've been over here. Is it really? It was Charlotte. So last time we played, we did some progression.
That's okay.
Alright, so now I have my little reinforcement panels in there, and I've turned in the opening by 5/8 of an inch and stitched it down. I also got the waistband on and pressed it a couple of times, and I now have it folded over, and I'm just going to stitch right in this channel right below it so that hopefully the stitching is less noticeable, and I have this folded in such a way that it should catch that bottom edge all the way down. Anything that doesn't get caught I can fix afterward. I'm gonna have to do a lot of tacking with some other things. The mosquito truck is driving past. Thank you! You are saving my skin, sir! I very much appreciate you. Louisiana, mosquito abatement has been working overtime since the hurricane. Hi, hello, I'll let you see my face while I'm speaking, and I'll turn toward the light too so that I'm lit up because the ring light's in the other room and I don't feel like grabbing it. Ever since the hurricane, all of the dense areas of vegetation, especially like a suburb, we have a lot of trees and a lot of vegetation, and we let it grow naturally as much as possible down here, unless you're like in a brand new neighborhood or a really high-end neighborhood or an apartment complex that super manicures everything. Most places will let the trees and the grass kind of do their own thing. A lot of people will mow their lawns like weekly, but that's kind of the most that anybody does. We personally on our property don't really like to do that. Apparently our yard got bad enough that our neighbor felt the need to insist on paying her lawn guys to come do our yard on the same days, so that's a thing. She's paying for it, we're not gonna say no, but because of all of the foliage that got knocked around, all of the drainage problems that we've had since 2016, which 2016 was where we discovered a lot of the issues, and more developments hasn't helped, and a lot of the storm debris hasn't been getting picked up in a timely manner, so the mosquitoes have been festering everywhere. It's so bad that I keep getting at least 2 brand new bites during the day when we go to walk Chris's dogs, even through like bug repellent and stuff. And I don't want to keep slathering DEET and essential oils on myself to try to keep them off because I'm going to go through the supply too fast, and I don't want to blow all our money on mosquito repellent. So it's another reason I'm actually glad that I'm going to be in the costume for Renfest, because it means I'll have more layers on and I'll be less likely to get bit. The only areas that potentially will get bitten are my hands and forearms and my upper area here, because I'll be wearing boots and tights and 2 skirts and the full bodice and everything. If I just get some citronella or lemongrass or cedar and dab it on pulse points, I should be okay. There's a perfume from Victoria's Secret that is supposed to naturally be a bug repellent. I forget which one it is, but citronella, lemongrass, cedar, all of those do really well. I'll worry about it after this weekend, but I have to go get a bunch of herbs and, things to put together Alyce's mixtures. I've got a bunch of bottles and vials and some crystal confetti in that bucket, and I'm gonna go get all of the herbal components, like dried herbs. There's a metaphysical shop not too far from me that actually sells a lot of those things, and I may get some of it specifically to keep mosquitoes away and make a couple of little pouches to sew into my hems or my waistbands. That might not be a bad idea. Anyway, I'm gonna get this waistband stitched the rest of the way on. Yay!
Testing his barbecue. So I really wanted to treat her.
I totally forgot to film the process, but I measured down about 1 inch from the bottom of the waistband and then another 8-ish inches down from there, marked the top and bottom with pins, and I stitched about 3/8, a 1/4 inch to 3/8 away from the seam line on either side and just made a rectangle, and I stitched down the seam allowance on the inside. So there you can see that sort of olive green line there. That's my bobbin stitch. I am going to pull this seam open and use a seam ripper to pull out the thread in the side seam between the top and the bottom, and that'll be our pocket opening. Ta-da! Pocket opening. So now I'll be able to reach through my top skirt into my tie-on pockets below. the finished skirt and the finished petticoat, and I am very, very proud of these. They're incredibly comfortable, they move beautifully. I did, as you saw in that last bit, I sewed a strip of felt inside of the hem of each one to give them a little bit more body. And again, this has now been through 2 festival seasons. It even went with me all the way to Des Moines for a Renaissance festival, which you will see very, very soon. As soon as I get through all of the build footage for this, that will be one of the next videos that you guys see on this channel. The pocket openings are fantastic. I actually used them so much that this one has split and has come undone about 1 inch below where it was originally open, so I need to do a bit of repair work. I need to do a bit of mending to the bottom edge of my skirt here because the linen has been frayed away from all of the stress of rubbing up against the ground and the floor and being stepped on a few times, and the felt is now exposed, so I'm gonna need to do a bit of mending. I'm very, very happy with these skirts. I love them so much. They do a lot to kind of bring in the waist and also bump out my hips a little bit, and I actually left the closures laid right on top of each other in the back because it almost creates a bit of a false bustle, which would have been the silhouette at the time. The noble ladies would have worn bum rolls to poof out their skirts more along with the farthingale. The common class and the working class would have done as much as they could to emulate the silhouette and the style of the nobility, so having all of this extra material back here creating almost a false bum roll worked out. It worked out very, very well. There's piece 2 and 3 of Alyce Pestle, and next you will be seeing the process of building the bodice, which will be the second to last absolutely necessary piece, the other one being her cap, but you will see the cap together with the apron and the pockets since they're all small pieces that were made out of this same linen as the shift. And yes, I am wearing modern undergarments under the top of the shift right now, but here she is so far. It was so satisfying and invigorating to get these pieces done because these pieces alone just make me feel so, there's something so wonderful about being a woman and wearing something with such long flowing skirts like this. And skirts like this honestly could work for a lot of periods of history. So I'm very, very pleased with it, and I can't wait for y'all to see the next part. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, you know where all of the buttons and the links are to show me that love. If you want to see more costume content, particularly pieces of Alyce, you will find parts 1 and 2 linked in the cards and the description, as well as my cosplay playlist, which along with Alyce has footage of me building Wednesday Addams, Kim Possible, and my first attempt to build Raven from Teen Titans. Stay tuned for more Twitch VODs as well as the building of Alyce's bodice, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Keep aiming, my loves. Sláinte.